Are you comfortable in social settings? Do you avoid that invitation to attend a friend's birthday party? Or do you greet it with delight? An opportunity to meet with existing friends and meet new people? Or do you have that uncomfortable feeling in social settings at the thought of having to interact with strangers, new people, and you find this makes you extremely anxious? So, we may all face social anxiety at some point in our life, but we can avoid social anxiety and panic by developing the skill of how to become comfortable in any social situation. So if we haven't met, I'm Ava and I help women become bravely beautiful and supercharge sassy self-confidence after a breakup. Welcome to today. I'm so glad that you could join me in this video where I will be looking at how some social settings can make us feel uncomfortable, but it is useful to understand why this happens and what to do about it. So if you feel awkward, maybe your stomach's in knots, you're sweating, you have a racing heart, a sense of dread, it could be nervousness, you may be shy. Do you think anyone else can see your concerns? Is it true, or do most people remain totally unaware of any discomfort we feel or even notice that we might be in the room? So you could try this for the next 4 weeks in your social interactions. Go out there and try to notice who is struggling with physical symptoms of social anxiety and write what you see down. Chances are you will have lots of blank spaces in your journal because it is impossible to notice the symptoms others experience or even pick up on what people are feeling, which means no one is going to notice when we feel anxious in social situations. If you're still uncertain, try this today. Go to the supermarket, pick up 10 items, queue up, then just before you get to the checkout, leave the queue, go back into the store and return every item and then walk out. Do you think anyone noticed you? No, I don't think so. They were too busy, self-obsessed, and preoccupied with their own lives that they didn't have time to think about anything or what anyone else was doing. So we have all been in these situations. There is nothing to be embarrassed about. Believe it or not, you are less important than you think you are. So approaching situations with a sense of humor rather than anxiety, dread, or embarrassment can help us. Think about what's activating your anxiety. What are your thoughts? What are your behaviors? What are your beliefs and the demands? Are they irrational? Do you have to accept anyone else's belief of you? So, what do you believe the consequences are? Can you accept yourself unconditionally? So, you can deal with being able to act or performance anxiety so that your mind doesn't go blank and you don't dread the task of going into social settings. Sometimes it takes us going back to our past. Maybe when we were younger, we encountered an embarrassing situation. It could have been a teacher at school, or maybe our friends making fun of us in public. Whatever the reasons, many of us dread social situations because of this. So unless we are an extrovert who loves or revels in the public attention and performance, we all have to learn how to overcome these difficulties in interactions with others. So how can we manage this? I think we need to observe what's causing the physical anxiety and then acknowledge that our perception in social situations is not usually the case in real life. So then we can start to accept that being physically anxious is normal and we begin to harness that feeling rather than try to stop it. So also accept that even the most confident person will have a blank mind. They will lose track of their speech and even clam up at the most untimely moments. And this cannot be avoided. So when you walk into a new situation, it might be appropriate to just try and relax. Start off with some humor, maybe a joke. You could have a few prompt cards if you feel this will help you not to lose your train of thought. Just be yourself and then keep practicing in smaller conversations with friends, people you meet at work, people you know, one-to-one interactions, anywhere, everywhere. And the best one for me is to not take yourself so seriously. Develop a profound sense of humor so that you realize you are not that important in people's lives as you think you are. So laugh at yourself. Realize the world won't end when you feel this anxiety, and you can get confident in any setting. Because it's just a false perception that anyone else can spot our nerves or our lack of confidence. The bottom line is that being confident in conversation starts with practice. And in each case, focus on the other person's response to start with might help you to feel less awkward or clumsy. But the more we practice, the more confident and comfortable we begin to feel. So when that dreaded social situation arrives, you can walk confidently into any situation without worrying about whether anyone thinks you boring, because you know you are 100% interesting. And the art of confident conversation is something we will need to master throughout our lives if we are to navigate our world. So that can mean dealing with conflicting situations at work, to awkward social settings, and maybe even confrontations with strangers. So I believe the more emotionally resilient we are, the better we will become. And this happens when we show interest in those we engage with in conversations. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you see yourself? Where would others see you? Now rate your behavior. Know yourself as a person. Then for the next 30 days, record what your family, friends, or even colleagues criticize about you, maybe something they say or do, or maybe it's even the silence you get from them. The key is to accept there is no scale to measure your worth. That means who you are as a person. But we do accept that we are responsible for our behavior and can challenge it if necessary, in the same way others might challenge our behavior. So that could be like your manager at work or people that are close to you. So although we may all mess up in our behavior at times, because we all are going to make mistakes at some point, you're not defined by it. So your task is to do your best with your skills and behavior in every day. So there is a difference in accepting who we are with our condition and remaining free to challenge and rate our behavior. Then we can start to stop spending our lives matching up to who we should be or who others think we ought to be, and start to be kinder to ourselves. Challenge those critical thoughts. When we believe we are useless, weak, or a failure, where do those thoughts come from? If someone else told us this, is this who we are? Or is it our behavior? Or simply what someone else believes? So when you realize whether something said about you was irrational or rational, by challenging the event, then the belief, and realizing that the consequence of being termed as useless or weak is all about our behavior and not who we are as a person, we can begin to confidently accept who we are, not what we do. So if any of this has left you with questions, do feel free to reach out to me. Remember, the best lesson you can learn is to accept yourself as you are and become comfortable in your own skin so that you accept yourself as being unique without any condition. The best way to develop the skill is to practice it, repeat it until it becomes automatic, and your life will be truly transformed. So just to let you know, every week there are live topics. And if there is any subject that you would like me to talk about around confidence building, then do feel free to leave a comment or direct message me. And I am sharing some exciting news. I'm starting a Facebook group soon, and the details will be available so that if you would like to join. And remember, never bend your head, always hold it high, look the world straight in the eye. Take care. Thanks for joining me today, and have a great week.